Fans agree that Adam Busby's daughter looks a lot like him. However, she also looks a lot like Danielle Busby. Either way, fans agree that she's a very pretty young woman. While she's not ready to start dating boys seriously, one day, there will come a calling, and her mom and dad will probably watch her like a hawk. Blayke Busby never seemed to be a tomboy like her sister, Riley. And, since she was 10, she enjoyed going to spas with her friends. So, she and her mom often look polished up and attractive. She's athletic like her mom, and patient with her little sisters like her dad. Oh, and she has Adam Busby's light-colored eyes. On Thursday, OutDaughtered fans who follow Danielle Busby saw that she shared a photo of herself with Blayke on Instagram. In the photo, they sat next to each other in the car. Both of them wore their hair long and loose, and they both wore similar makeup. But more than that, they twinned with braces on their teeth. In the comments section, some fans claimed that Blayke is a mix of both Adam Busby and Danielle. Meanwhile, others noticed that her mom's eyes were dark, unlike Blayke's. Here are a few more reactions. What are your thoughts on Blayke Busby and her mom, Danielle Busby, twinning in looks and with braces? Do you agree that apart from Adam Busby's eyes, the oldest child looks like her mother's twin? Shout out in the comments below, and come back here often for all your Danielle and Adam. Through therapy, Danielle also began to ask herself deeper questions about identity and purpose. For years, her identity was wrapped up in motherhood. She was the quint mom, the reality TV star, the business owner. But who was Danielle beyond that? That question terrified her, but it also liberated her. She began carving out time for herself, something she rarely allowed. She started journaling again, going to Pilates, reading, and taking solo walks. She even went on a weekend retreat by herself for the first time. It felt selfish at first, she explained. But I realized I can't take care of my family if I'm not taking care of myself. Part of this journey was also about finding a voice again. Danielle has always been active on social media, but she started sharing more authentically. Instead of curated moments, she posted honest reflections, unfiltered photos, and messages about anxiety, exhaustion, and hope. Her followers responded with gratitude. Many women said Danielle's words made them feel less alone. Others said her honesty gave them permission to ask for help. I didn't want to be another mom on Instagram pretending life was perfect, Danielle said. That's not real. And I think we need more real. She also explained how deeply she felt the pressure of being a role model. As a public figure, she felt responsible for always appearing grateful, composed, and strong. But privately, she cried in closets. She questioned whether she was doing enough. She felt guilt for every time she lost patience with her daughters or had to leave the room just to breathe. There were days I would just look in the mirror and not recognize myself, she shared. Not just physically, but emotionally. I had to figure out how to love myself again. Danielle's journey also included redefining motherhood. She began letting go of the perfectionism that haunted her early parenting years. She accepted that messes, tantrums, and imperfection were part of raising kids and part of being human. She stopped apologizing for needing space. She stopped trying to be the Pinterest mom and instead focused on being a present one. My girls don't need a perfect mom, she said. They need a happy one. One of the biggest breakthroughs Danielle had came during a conversation with her oldest daughter, Blayke. The preteen, now navigating her own identity, looked at Danielle and asked, "Mom, are you happy?" The question hit Danielle hard. She realized her kids could sense her stress, her tension, and her exhaustion, even if she tried to hide it. That moment made me stop and reflect, Danielle said. If I want them to grow up knowing it's okay to rest, to set boundaries, to be themselves, I have to show them how. That conversation became a turning point. Danielle began making small changes that led to bigger shifts. She cut back on work hours. She hired more help. She leaned on Adam more. She let go of guilt. And slowly, she started feeling more like herself again, not the woman the world expected, but the woman she wanted to be. Danielle also explains how faith played a huge role in her healing. Raised in a Christian household, Danielle said she always leaned on prayer in hard times. But during her health crisis, she felt spiritually lost. She questioned why this was happening. She doubted. But she also listened. In quiet moments, in those solo walks, she began hearing what she needed, grace. Not just from God, but for herself. I had to forgive myself for not having it all together, she said. God never asked me to be perfect. He asked me to trust him. With renewed perspective, Danielle and Adam made another bold decision: to pause the show. After 9 seasons of OutDaughtered, they stepped back. The decision wasn't easy, especially with fans pleading for more episodes. But Danielle explained it best: we needed time to live life without a camera in our face. To be a family, not a show. That choice, while bittersweet, gave the Busbys room to breathe. They traveled more. They had family game nights without microphones. They rediscovered their rhythm. And Danielle, perhaps for the first time in years, felt peace. Now, Danielle Busby is in a place of rebuilding, not from scratch, but with intention. She's writing more. Speaking at women's events. Using her platform to talk about burnout, boundaries, and bravery. She's connecting with other moms, not as a reality star, but as a woman who knows what it feels like to lose yourself and find yourself again. I'm still learning, Danielle admits. I still have hard days. I still mess up. But I'm not afraid of the hard anymore. I know I'll make it through. What's next for Danielle? She doesn't claim to have all the answers. But she's open. Open to healing. Open to joy. Open to telling the truth. And that, more than anything, makes her journey not just powerful, but relatable. Because in Danielle's words, explaining yourself isn't about justifying your choices. It's about being honest with yourself. And when you do that, you give others the courage to do the same. Danielle Busby explains not just what happened to her, but what she learned from it. She explains how pain transformed into purpose. How exhaustion became clarity. How motherhood isn't about sacrifice, it's about presence. And how showing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's sacred. In a world that praises hustle and perfection, Danielle Busby stands as a soft, steady voice saying, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to change. And it's more than okay to take your power back. Danielle Busby, star of OutDaughtered, has often been the rock of the Busby household, calm, strong, and incredibly resilient. From raising 6 daughters, including America's only all-female set of quintuplets, to facing health challenges and marriage strain in the public eye, Danielle has endured more than many could imagine. But recently, Danielle has begun to open up in a deeper way, sharing more candidly about her internal struggles, physical health, emotional burnout, and what it means to find herself again as a woman, wife, and mother. In this emotional journey, Danielle explains her truth in her own voice, and it's strikingly raw. Danielle has always been the picture of poise on OutDaughtered, even while managing chaos. But behind that composed exterior, there's a woman who's felt overwhelmed, unseen, and stretched far too thin. In recent interviews and online posts, Danielle has begun to share that she wasn't just tired, she was burning out. Raising 6 children is no small feat, but doing it with the cameras on you, a business to run, and health battles looming makes it near impossible to stay grounded. I think people saw me holding it all together, Danielle said, but I wasn't okay for a long time. One of the biggest revelations Danielle has shared in recent months is about her mysterious health issues. In 2021, fans began noticing she wasn't as active on social media. Her absence triggered concern, and eventually, Danielle revealed she had been facing an undiagnosed health issue that left her with pain, exhaustion, and unanswered questions. Doctors couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong. Test after test, visit after visit, there was no clear diagnosis. At one point, she feared something much more serious. I started to wonder if this was how my life would be now, she said. Living in discomfort, never knowing what the next day would feel like. The health scare forced Danielle to pause, a rare act for a mom constantly on the go. It also forced her to confront what she had been ignoring for years, the toll of pushing herself beyond her limits. I had to stop pretending I was Superwoman, she admitted. I thought I had to be everything for everyone. But my body said, enough. As Danielle faced her physical challenges, she also began confronting emotional ones. Her marriage to Adam Busby, though strong at its foundation, wasn't immune to the pressure. The couple has been open about the tension that raising 6 kids and working full-time created in their relationship. But Danielle says it was more than just being busy. She started to realize she didn't feel connected to herself anymore, and that distance created friction in her marriage. Adam is amazing, Danielle said, but we both realized we were just surviving. We weren't nurturing our relationship the way we used to. We were great parents, but we weren't great partners in those moments. The couple began therapy, both individually and together, to repair what was strained. They learned to communicate in new ways. We had to find each other again, she said. Not just as mom and dad, but as